bicycle! Did you see that? Why would somebody do that?
I looked at some statistics, and we're in the 30318 zip code. And in that zip code, it showed that 30% of the state's prison population was comprised of that one area. So that was alarming to me.
I think most of us would agree that reading is foundational to overall success in life, and we know that there's been plenty of published literature speaking to the fact that we can predict a child's quality of life or what career they'll have or their ability to earn a living wage that can support their families based on their levels of literacy proficiency.
The other day I was just talking to one of my parents, just filling out a document. I realized that she has challenges with literacy. I saw that we had a lot of children, especially children of color, entering into special education. I felt like there's a lot of disproportionality was going on. I felt like it was probably wrong and the process was not being handled appropriately. So it's very important that these students learn how to read, not only read, but learn how to read well.
With the pyramid of intervention, it's thought that most students, at least 80% of the students, should be on grade level or are on grade level. But we find out that that's not the case. It's the exact opposite, that only about 20% of the students are proficient in language and literacy. We found that, science can't happen, math can't happen, social studies can't happen without literacy. We have always looked at our testing grades, and those are grades 3, 4, and 5 with our new Georgia milestones. But we found out that these are just patches. And, we're trying to put a Band-Aid on something that could have been healed.
Sometimes in the classroom, I was discouraged about just feeling like I'm not doing what I really want to do with the kids, just different things that were mandated and just feeling that pressure.
Bye, Miss McGarrity. Frederick Douglass said, "Once you learn to read, you'll be forever free." The way it is now, 2 of the 3 of us will never be able to really read. It doesn't have to be this way.
Again. One more time. Say it together. What word? Let's go.
When we look back at the crux of the matter, and we've partnered with the Atlanta Street School in Rollins to fill one of our ills, and one of our ills has been literacy.
At Atlanta Speech School, we've been extremely fortunate to inherit a legacy of being grounded in the understanding of reading as a hard science for decades. We've served children in our Ward Law School for children with dyslexia and other language-based learning disabilities based on the science of lead reading and brain researchers by translating this hard science into best practices for teaching children to read. So through our work of the Rollins Center for Language and Literacy, we're able to kind of fine-tune these scientifically based practices that are pervasive throughout our own Ward Law School and apply them in a practical and generalizable way with partner schools in other settings so that we have this critical mass of learners and educators benefiting from the very science that we're implementing every day.
Along with the Rollins Center, I think we have found some of those solutions in knowing that there's an exact science to the reading brain.
To effectively and consistently approach this work through sort of an interconnected lens, we developed a research-based framework that's inspired by the science of Dr. Marianne Wolf and what she describes as the deep reading brain. The act of becoming a deep reader becomes highly unlikely, if not impossible, without having the know-how to put in place the appropriate interventions and remediation through targeted, explicit, and systematic instruction.
We share a common vision for what it is that we want for Usher-Collier.
Good morning.
In other schools, if kids are constant discipline problems, then they may be suspended. But here, we set up parameters so those students can stay here, because ultimately, if they're not here in the building, they can't learn.
You never know how that child's evening was. So I try to keep my teachers there at the forefront of that. And we try to feel those needs and know sometimes that acting out is an indirect response to the things that are happening at home. And so we try to give a prescription to those things rather than a consequence to an action.
The Chinese symbol for active listening is images that encompass the need for open ears, open eyes, undivided attention, an open mind, and an open heart. Nowhere in it do we find evidence of a closed mouth. Listening isn't about the act of being quiet or silencing children's voices. It's about tuning in to those around us, and when that happens, the result is that being quiet naturally happens.
Silence is not the key, and they have a lot to say. So it's incumbent upon us as educators to give them that voice, but give them that voice with a rich vocabulary and a way of actually articulating your innermost feelings and your thoughts. And we've now created a voice for those students, and it has quelled and greatly reduced our discipline referrals. A lot of our students, we can't control how they come to us, but we can control what takes place in the time that's given to us, changing their trajectory.
The way I feel every day. Every day. Happy, sometimes mad, and safe. Because I got Mr. Parker.
Hey Jordan, how you doing? Good. Good.
When you come in on a Monday morning after a late weekend and everybody's smiling and they're like, good morning, good morning, good morning, happy Monday. I think that's important, and you do it to the kids too as they're dragging in.
Start small in your classroom and you branch out from there, and you provide people with your ideas, you talk to people and try to get buy-in as much as you can.
Take a look at tiny bits, chunks of things that you can do yourself in your classroom or outside of the classroom, no matter what you are.
But you have to know that, you need a team of people with you to believe in the vision that you have.
I do think that in any school, the main thing should always be the children, but making the children feel welcome and like they're a family and like they're not a burden.
When I feel like the teacher is knowing that, like, you're doing good at the end, it just make me feel good. It make me feel like I'm really getting money, but in another way.
And just do what you do authentically. So, yeah.
Make the school worldwide.